So there's been much discussion on the right about what went wrong in the 2022 elections, and many people have been saying it's the suburbs. We need to win back the suburbs to win back the country. And a lot of people really think what happened in 2022 was a suburban collapse. No, just no. Look, you can make an argument all you want about the suburban counties, like, oh, we need to do better in these counties, which I agree. We just cannot win these counties back. That's the delusional part people need to understand. You're never winning back these counties past a certain point. You're never going to win, a place like Cobb County ever again. It's Gone, gone. But we're not going to be discussing about, should we focus more effort in the suburbs? Sure, we're focusing on why they're gone and this idea that suburban shifts are why Republicans underperformed in 2022. I mean, it's a delusional statement beyond belief. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the Twitter account in the description down below, and join the channel today. You know what to do, everybody. If you click that big, beautiful blue join button down below, you can join Real American Politics only for 10 cents a day. I recommend you join as it helps support the daily content on this channel. So I hope you join today. All right, let's get into it. So, a lot of people are saying the reason that we underperformed 2022 was the suburbs. Well, guess what? I'm just going to hold on. Excuse me, I had to cough for a second. Let's just look at the shift map and let's just look at where Republicans did better compared to Trump in 2020. All right? We're not going to talk, there's some states we're not going to focus on, like Kansas. That was an uncompetitive race, essentially. We're not going to discuss a place, like California or South Dakota, because they were uncompetitive. The states are obviously uncompetitive, but even then, these Senate candidates, it's like, no, we're not talking about this. We're focusing on the states that, had electoral importance. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, etc. And let's look at it. So, let's start with the state of Pennsylvania. A lot of people are going to say Oz lost this race because of the suburbs. But here's the weird thing. These same people, and look up these tweets. I guarantee you they're still up if they have not deleted yet. These people that are saying Oz was a terrible candidate. Well, these people 5 months ago were saying he's the perfect suburban candidate. He's going to win over these independent voters in Delaware, Montgomery, etc. But now they're saying that he did bad in the suburbs, like he was a bad choice? These people for months were saying Oz's reason for being the candidate was his performance in a place like Chester. Well, look at this map. Sure, he did better in a place like Chester, and compared to the rest of the state, did better comparatively in Montgomery, Delaware, etc. But guess what? Look at the rest of the state. Look at this. I like Oz. I would not regret ever supporting him. Of the bozos that we had in this race, he was our best option. And quite frankly, we kind of forced him in this position of running. He should have never been the candidate in the first place. Sean Parnell should have never dropped out. But any other case, looking at this collapse in rural areas, Armstrong, Claren, Vertigo, Warren, etc. And I talked about there was a huge vote difference in a lot of these areas. Like, place like Armstrong, they had a huge turnout problem. And I know Philly had a turnout decrease, but that was expected. Some of these counties, they should have not had that big of a turnout decrease. And on top of that, these voters in rural Pennsylvania, they did not turn out like we expected. And on top of all of this, these counties shifted 12 points Democrat. The Philly and the Burbs, they shifted 2, maybe a point Democrat. So if the rest of the state shifted 12 points Democrat, and this part of the state shifted a couple points Democrat, yeah, Oz did better in the Philly area. The Philly burbs, he did better comparatively. So this wasn't a suburban issue. I mean, the only way that Oz could have won this map, or won this race with this map, just from the suburbs, like, look how many votes he has to make up. Almost 270,000 votes. Where are you going to find this in Bucks County, Montgomery? You can win. Delaware, Chester, right? 40,000, 70,000. Let's see, 120,000, 20,000. You could flip all of these counties, all right? 40, 110, all right? I'm just doing the math. 250, and then 30 or 20,000. And you may win the state of Pennsylvania. You have to flip every single one of these suburban counties just to have a chance of flipping the state. You get my point. If these voters were going to vote for Oz, who was supposed to be the best candidate for this state, like Chester, Bucks, etc., these voters are not going to flip Republican. Like, I agree. We should not be getting 40% of the vote in Chester. It should be like 43, 44%. But do people not realize, even if we improve by 3 to 4 points in all the suburban counties, Fetterman's still up by 120,000 votes. Are you going to really make that up just from Philly and Allegheny? You may make up 60, 70,000 votes. At that point, you need to find a way to pick off, this is best case scenario for Republicans, over 70,000 votes from the rural parts of the state. You see the problem with this idea of my suburbs. You need to pick up so many suburban votes just to make up this margin. And let's keep going. Let's go to the state of Arizona. People are saying the reason Blake Masters lost this seat was Maricopa County. He underperformed in Maricopa. Well, guess what? He lost the county by around 100,000 votes. He lost the election by around 130,000 votes. So even if he won Maricopa, he needs to find 30,000 votes somewhere. Is he going to find that in Pima? He may find 20,000. And at that point, you got to find 10,000 more votes in the rest of the state. And even then, it would be extremely hard to flip Maricopa at this point. You could pick up 50,000 votes, pick up maybe at best 10, 20,000 in Pima. You still got to make up 70,000 in the rest of the state. Are you guys getting what I'm saying? Even if you were to win Maricopa, you still need to make up 30,000 votes somewhere. You're not going to get all that from Pima. Even Karen Taylor Robson, she wouldn't have gotten more than 39, 40% of the vote in Pima. She may have won Maricopa. Where does she get the rest of the votes from? If Blake Masters, who was too Trumpy for the state of Arizona, who actually underperformed Trump, mostly in the Trump parts of the state, actually performed better compared to the rest of the state in a place like Maricopa, if he couldn't get those voters out, how the hell do you expect Jim Lamont to get these voters out? Guess what? You're not. This is the problem Republicans need to accept. You cannot just win elections from the suburbs. Now, again, I do agree we can't lose Maricopa by 6%. If we lost it by 3%, it's a bit easier. That's 50,000 votes, essentially, off the lead from Markelly. You need to still find 70,000 votes somewhere. Now, let's go to Wisconsin, the great state of Wisconsin. Now, Ron Johnson, he undoubtedly won this race because of his overperformance in Waukesha, Washington, etc., Ozaki, the Wow counties. But even then, if he only shifted these counties a point, all right, just let's say he won Waukesha by, instead of 57,000, 50,000. Washington, about, yeah, you get the point. So let's say his lead decreases the wild counties by 10,000 votes, 15,000 votes, whatever. He still would have won. Because he did so good compared to Trump in northern Wisconsin, a place like Racine he did pretty solid in, that even if he did worse than Trump in the wild counties, I still think mathematically he would be in the lead over Mandela Barnes. It would be close, but he could have done worse than Waukesha and still won it. That's the importance of rural voters in many of these states. And again, I'm not saying it's a good idea to, only win Waukesha by 20. I'm saying even if he would have won it by 20, he still would have won because he did pretty solid in the rural parts of the state. Look at these counties that did shift Republican. That's what I'm trying to get at. Yes, we should not be winning these counties by only, Waukesha. We should not be begging to get 60%. If it's 61, 62%, that's fine. That gives us a bit more breathing space to pick off voters in the rural parts of the state. That's my whole argument, that just do not get killed in these counties. I agree with that. But if you really think these voters that only shifted slightly towards Ron Johnson of all people against Mandela Barnes, if you really think these voters are going to come back en masse, you're delusional. Absolutely delusional. They're not like the voters in southwestern Wisconsin. These voters, I talked to quite a bit of them, and they voted for Barnes just because of economic reasons. All right, minimum wage stuff, etc. They do support increasing minimum wage, making sure working families have enough to put food on the table. That's why a lot of these voters, they didn't shift as Republican as Waukesha. So that's why I think they're a bit easier, in my opinion, to pick off. Because these voters in Waukesha, they voted for Barnes not because of economics. They voted for him because Ron Johnson mad. That's the type of voter we are dealing with in many of these counties across the board. Now, before I leave today's video, I want to discuss Georgia and Texas for a second. Because I understand people are going to say, well, look how great Brian Kemp did in the Atlanta burbs. He did do good in Cobb and Fulton and Gwinnett, but he still underperformed in Clayton, Henry, Rockdale, DeKalb he did a bit better in. But look at the rest of the state. These Atlanta counties shifted more Democrat compared to the rest of the state. So even Brian Kemp, who did 9.8 points better in Cobb, which is like 2 points better than the rest of the state for the shift, He won Georgia by around 7.5 points, if I did the math correctly. Trump lost by around a point, 8.5 point shift. That's about a point trend in Cobb County. But even then, that's not a lot. But that's what we need to do. Just a couple points better in some of these suburban counties, just so you can make it a lot easier to win a lot of these rural voters over. You don't have to make up, instead of having to win over 200,000, like in Pennsylvania, you had to win over 100,000. That's a significantly easier thing to do. Anyways, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the Twitter account in the description down below, and join the channel today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.